Hi guys, I hope you're well. In this video I'm going to give you some deadlift tips, but in addition to that I'm also going to give you some tips to help with your hip starting position, because I see a common trend with people deadlifting is they have a tendency to start with their hips far too low. They almost try and squat the weight. However, first I want to give some cues for the actual lift, and then I'm going to discuss the hip position at the end of the video. So I think one of the key things that's really helped my deadlift personally, and it's helped a lot of my clients deadlifts, is focusing on bracing your core effectively. And this is something I've discussed in other videos, but it will dramatically improve the power of the lift. In addition to that, it will really help to keep you in a tight position. And as I discussed in some other videos, with regards to the squat, deadlift and bench press in particular, any lack of tightness means lack of power. So making sure you're in a properly braced position is absolutely critical. And you've probably heard this before, but I think few people realise how to brace their core effectively. Now that is to essentially push your abdominals out during the lift. So the best way I know to describe this is I want you to imagine someone's about to punch you in the stomach. How would you have your stomach? You deliberately push your abdominals out and you'd be as braced as possible. This is the cue you want throughout the deadlift. But in addition to that, prior to lifting the bar off the floor, I want you to focus on having a big deep breath before each repetition. So having a big deep breath, you're then pushing your stomach out. If you're wearing a belt, you're focusing on pushing your stomach into the belt, and then you're focusing on staying in this position until the rep has been completed. Once you've completed the rep, you then breathe out, lower the bar to the floor, and then you're going to repeat the process again. So big deep breath, push that stomach out, and perform the deadlift. Now another key point I want to discuss is people have a tendency to look at the deadlift from a pull off the floor, but I actually want you to focus on doing the opposite. Instead of focusing pulling the weight off the floor, I want you to focus on driving your feet through the floor. Now this will just again keep you in a much tighter position throughout the movement. It will help to prevent your hips shooting up too quickly, and it will just allow you to move more weight. So you're going to focus on driving your feet through the floor, but in addition to that, as you're lifting the bar off the floor, as you're completing the repetition, I want you to focus on squeezing your glutes together. So there's 3 key tips I want you to focus on. Big deep breath, bracing that core effectively, pushing your heels through the floor rather than focusing on lifting the bar off the floor, and then also squeezing your glutes. You're firing your hips through as you're completing the repetition. The other point I want to address, as I briefly alluded to at the start of the video, is people have a tendency to squat the weight rather than actually deadlift the weight. And by that I mean people have a tendency to start with their hips far too low, and as such their hips will tend to rise before the weight even moves off the floor, and this is just an inefficient way to perform the exercise. So I've got a really good tip to help with this, and it requires you to record your deadlift from a side angle. You're then going to perform the deadlift as you would normally, so with them hips in a lower starting point because you're used to squatting the weight. You're then going to perform the exercise, and what you'll notice is your hips will start to shoot up, and I want you to note when the bar actually moves the floor. So when the bar moves the floor, you're going to see your hips in a higher position. Now this is exactly why I want you to start your deadlift when you return back to the exercise. Then when you return back to the exercise, and instead of starting with your hips too low like you used to do previously, you're then going to start that hip position as it was as the bar left the floor when you recorded your last deadlift. So this is the exact position you're going to start, and you'll notice that it probably feels a little bit strange to begin with because it's going to feel like your hips are too high, but this is the position where you want to start the deadlift, and then you're going to complete the deadlift as normal. So just to clarify, brace your core effectively, focus on pushing your feet through the floor, focusing on squeezing your glutes together, and then recording your deadlift and making sure that you're starting your hip position where the bar actually moves off the floor. So hopefully this has been useful. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Have a good day. Thank you very much.